My name's Toni, and I have 4 children ranging from 16 to 9. I'm from the Ilkeston area. I think I became more conscious of it, as you say, when the kids were being sent home, and it kind of, this is real. But before that, it was just kind of hearsay. It's just another thing going round. It'll all blow over soon, but it obviously become more reality.
So when sort of the kids were sent home from school, I'm guessing from what other people have said that was probably about a week before we went into full lockdown.
Yeah.
I'm guessing, given that you've got 4 kids, that was chaos.
Yeah, yes, it was. Especially having me oldest, because he was due for his GCSEs, having his prom and everything like that, and it was, well, what's going to happen with all of that, and everything was in uproar. How long they're going to be off for. And I must say, when I went to go and collect the kids on the last day of school, it was quite emotional walking out the gates, because you never knew when you were going to be back in there again.
And have the kids been back in school, or were they off for the whole time?
Off for the whole time, 6 months now.
6 months. So you've had 4 kids at home for 6 months.
Yeah.
So how is your sanity with all of that?
You know what? I've actually quite enjoyed it, and I've enjoyed that slower pace of life. I suppose that's why I enjoy going abroad, mine. But no, just not having to rush around and rush to get to work, rush to get to school, and it was kind of do things on your own pace, at your own pace.
So have you had to do a lot of homeschooling with especially the younger ones?
Yes, obviously my oldest I didn't have to because he left school, but the other 3, it proved to be quite difficult. One, because we've only got 1 laptop in the house, and everything was being done online. And then obviously there was different age ranges as well. So I've got another that's in secondary school, and then 2 that are still in primary. And it was hard to get our heads around at first.
And how did you manage that? I mean, did you get your head around it, or was that quite frustrating?
When we finished having internet issues and the overwhelming of everybody trying to log on to the same websites at once, it did become easier. I mean, up until I think it was the Easter holidays, my middle son in secondary school, he really, really struggled, because everything that he went on, he was just being overloaded with all this work, but didn't know what he was doing. We couldn't get on, and then the software wasn't working properly. But then after the Easter holidays, they came back and says, right, this is a timetable for you. So then he knew each morning when he woke up what lessons he had to do and things. And he only ever spent an hour, 2 hours every day, every morning, doing schoolwork. But it was just what was set, and I wasn't going to push them to do any more, because at the end of the day we're in unprecedented times, and it's, difficult as it is, without having full-on blown meltdowns and arguments, because I'm not understanding the work and he's not understanding it. So I just kind of let them take it at their own pace. And then the other 2, theirs was all on Class Dojo. And the school was really great at setting work and things like that. But again, I had trouble logging into their maths work, which I was quite glad about, because I don't like maths myself. But then at the end of it, we kind of got better. Well, we got better at a routine with that. And it'll be like whilst one was doing TT Rockstars, another would be doing written work in their book. And then there would be, then obviously they would take over, because it was trying to spread that time of the laptop. But I also noticed that if they didn't get the work done in the morning, it was all hell broke loose in the afternoon, because they didn't want to do it in the afternoon. They wanted to get it done, get it out of the way.
Did that motivate them then to get up in the morning and want to get the schoolwork done?
Well, it did, because they wasn't allowed on the Xbox or anything till they'd done some schoolwork.
Good old-fashioned bribery.
Oh yes, absolutely.
So just talking a little bit about the schools then, you said, you know, the primary school were good, the secondary school it took them until after the Easter holidays. Do you feel like you've had enough support from the kids' schools?
I did, yes. With one that's in secondary school, I had a phone call every 2 weeks from their teacher, check to see how he was doing. Then when I mentioned that I had problems, they would send me paperwork out in the post or hand deliver them to me for him to fill out and things like that. So they were completely understanding that not everybody was able to get onto the website or the softwares wasn't working very well. And it was the same with the two younger ones as well. You know, there was always support there. Always work set.
Yeah, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to know that the schools were sort of on it. So what was it like for Kane then? Because obviously I guess at some point he realised that he wasn't going to be able to sit his GCSEs. How was that for him?
I think at first they all kind of thought that it was going to be going back to school. This, you know, just kind of blasé about it all. But then as time went on, he got, I think if like a lot of them, I think they feel robbed of what they were, especially now that they've had the GCSE results through. And obviously it's all gone on their predicted targets and things like that. And I know like a lot of other teenagers, they faff around and mess around, but they know that if they did the GCSEs, their exam, they're going to put their 100% in because it's the real thing. And so unfortunately, he feels robbed of that as well.
I guess it's like you said, it's difficult because if he could have predicted that this would have happened, he might have worked harder.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, like you say, there's always a point at which you can pull it back, sort of before the exam. What about his prom and everything? Because I know that sort of affected a lot of teenagers and missing out on that kind of rite of passage almost.
Yeah, I don't think he was overly fussed about that. It's a lad. I think it would be different if it was a girl. It wasn't overly fussed, but when lockdown came to an end, him and all his friends had a bit of a gathering together, social gathering together, and yeah.
Pretty well with the kids being home.
Yeah, I've actually really enjoyed it. Although some of the arguments that we faced and things like that, and trying to get him to do the work, or Mum, I don't know what I'm doing. Mum, what shall I do now? I'm like, just hold on a minute. I'm trying to sort this one out, and then I'd have me other one throwing a tantrum at the laptop because the software's not working, and it was just like, oh, you know what? Just chill out a minute. I will sort it. In the end, my brother ended up lending me another laptop. So then I had two on the go, which made that made it so much easier. And I've got a printer as well, so I was able to print, because they're the two younger ones, because I couldn't access their math site. They ended up sending me the files, and then I was able to print them off, and they was able to do them as a little booklet for them to do.
So, $1 million question for me then really is, do you think you could ever be a teacher?
No. And I take my hats off to all those teachers, and I can see why you have to spend so long in university. It is certainly not for me.
Were you around any other adults, or was it all with the kids?
It was all with the kids. On the odd occasion, their dad used to come over and obviously see them. But apart from that, nothing. We had FaceTime with friends and things. But with the weather being so nice and things like that, I was able to do my garden up, extend the decking, started decorating the hallway. So I've got lots of projects done and got the kids involved as well.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Well, I can't dig holes in the garden, so.
So you've not sort of felt lonely? I mean, because you're a very sociable person, aren't you, generally? So it must have been a bit of a culture shock for you.
It was, yes, and there were times where I did feel quite anxious, and is this ever going to end, and things, but it was just quite nice just to be able to not have to let people down of plans or anything like that, because you couldn't make any plans. You just did what you wanted to do in my own little bubble with my kids. My daughter, I was getting her to, she wanted to learn how to cook and bake and things, so kind of tied that in with school, you know, life skills. One digging the garden, another one wanting to earn money because he wants to buy things on the Xbox, so right, you can get the housework done. It's not been done properly, but you know. And then obviously my daughter wanting to learn how to cook and bake, so kind of got her a children's cookbook and says, there you go, there's the kitchen. And she loved it. My oldest, it was his 16th of March, obviously end of March, so that was right at the very beginning. Obviously, with it being a 16, we had planned for big events and things like that, and see with all the family and friends. So in the end, I decided to get the baking stuff out and bake him a cake, which turned out quite well. So I was quite pleased with that. But we just chilled. I let him decide what he wanted for his food, did balloons and things. And it was my daughter's birthday, and that was beginning of June, so we're kind of already easing a little bit, I think, by then, was we? I think, anyway. But yeah, so she wanted me to make her a cake then, so I made her a cake. She wanted a mixed grill, so trying to do a mixed grill for that many people.
A 9-year-old wanted a mixed grill.
Mixed grill, yes.
She's a strange one.
I know.
Bless her. So just looking forward then, how do you feel about them going back to school in September? I mean, do you feel safe for them? Are you worried about them going back to school?
I'm not worried at all. I'll be glad for them to go back, to be honest. Can't wait to deep clean my house. It's been like shoveling snow while it's still snowing, so. But yeah, no, I feel safe for them to be going back to school, and it'd be nice to get them back into a routine. I mean, we've slowly already tried to get things back more for all of our sanities and things. So at first it was, you know, quiet walks. Yes, they would meet friends, but they knew to keep their distance. So it would only be one friend that they would meet, but it would keep the distance from each other. So it kind of kept them, when you're stuck in four walls for that long.
So do you feel like their educations have suffered, or do you think they'll bounce back from this?
I think they'll bounce back. I do. I mean, luckily, none of my children are actually not really in crucial years at the minute. You know, obviously I haven't got any that's in year 10, and I haven't got any that's in year 6. So that's, you know, so that they'll have enough time now to catch up when they do go back.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like sort of having the chance to learn at home and kind of being more concentrated learning, do you think that's helped them? Because some people have sort of said that idea that they've sort of, you know, had that concentrated learning rather than being in a big classroom has actually helped them in some ways, maybe with their spelling or their reading and that kind of thing.
No, it's not helped mine, because they wind each other up.
Yeah.
So whilst one's trying to concentrate reading or something, another one will be poking them, or even if I separate them rooms, and then Leo would end up coming down and just wind them all up.
So it sounds like in a way then you've just tried to kind of keep it all steady and just...
Yeah, keep it all steady, keep it cool, and just do what you can when they could.
What's going to happen, and when life's going to return to normal, I guess. If you've got no answer for that, that's...
I've got lots of answers for that.
Fire away.
I think a lot of it's been a big scaremongery, to be honest. I really do. And there's a lot of people out there that are absolutely petrified for it. But everybody, you know, we're each to our own. You know, that's the way that I feel. And when they just keep saying the amount of confirmed cases, they're not actually going on about how many deaths there are now, which is very, very low. And the more you read into it and things, it's actually a lot less of a killer than they made out it to be at the beginning. So, but who knows what the government will do next? No, it's been a bit extraordinary this year, hasn't it? On them.
2020, the year nobody will ever forget.
Exactly.